It's the final percent. The final percent.
All right, the Final Percent podcast is happening. And what we realized is, sometimes it's hard to get into the studio. Sometimes it's hard to find the right time. So we are recording on a mobile podcast setup while we're driving down I-25. Isn't that right, sweetheart?
Yes, literally in the truck right now as we speak, driving. It's amazing.
Coming back from Pueblo, we just talked to our good friend Boyd Williams. He's opening a new... If I sound bumpy, we are in a truck, and when I go over bumps, well, you're going to hear them. So, but our good friend Boyd Williams, who's the CEO and president of the YMCA, the Pikes Peak area, and he's just one of those world-class people we got to spend some time with. And then we went down to Pueblo on some business, had some lunch, and then we decided, hey, you know what? We want to be able to get into the podcast space whenever we need to. And so we now have a mobile podcast rig, and it sounds hilarious, but hey, you know what? The next time any of you listeners out there, when I meet you and you're saying, oh man, that was a great episode or whatever, and I pull it out of my truck and get you on the podcast, you're going to be like, this is what he was talking about. But we're not going to let anything stop us is kind of the name of the game. Progress over perfection. So many people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect microphone, the perfect gear. I've been guilty of all of these things. But we need to just move forward. We need to take action on our life. And I think, with having this captive audience named my wife sitting next to me, we can talk about some of the things that we go through as husband and wife, as entrepreneurs. We're halfway through a pregnancy. Sure are. So how about, let's have Cayla take it away, talk a little bit about some of the things that goes through her mind when she has to do this crazy thing called build a human and run a company. So, baby, take it away.
Well, that's kind of a loaded question. Obviously, there are many things that are constantly swirling around in my brain pretty much all the time. But I would say one of the biggest transitions or challenges, if you will, has just been really trying to find and navigate my new normal and balance in my day-to-day life, just with kind of being thrown this curveball. I'm very thankful for this curveball of pregnancy, but just never, knowing if I'm going to wake up and feel great or, what's going to be thrown my way. How do I power through and overcome that and keep pushing forward and continuing on with my business journey versus like when do I have to really stop and take a step back and listen to my body and slow down. So it's constantly, reading the situation and analyzing it and trying to better understand, what is the best way to proceed, because every situation, it's changing, it's different. So just trying to still be productive, still be me, still move forward in business and in life, but also know when to stop and take a step back and be like, okay, I need to kick my feet up and relax a little bit for wee babe, even if it's in the middle of a busy work day. It's just trying to navigate, when those appropriate times has been a big shift for me that I've had to make.
So one question, I think this is actually perfect because, I attack this specific thing multiple times with the creatives of the world. The creatives of the world are notorious for saying, I'm trying to catch a vibe.
Yeah.
They're trying to say, I don't feel like it right now. I need to get back into that mindset. And when I talk to those people, I say, you've never heard a janitor say, I have janitor block.
Right.
And I think that you are a great testament to, I would say most of the time you probably don't feel like doing something.
That's fair.
But you persevere. what are some of the things that set you up for success so that when you quote unquote don't feel like doing something, you can still step up and knock some home runs and knock one out of the park for your company and your family?
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge for sure. Just trying to, again, like I said, better understand, when is it time to power through and when is it time to really take a step back and relax and put my well-being and my baby's well-being first. But definitely the thing that's helped me the most when I am on the side of the fence of, okay, I'm able to power through this, I'm going to, and I will, is just kind of falling back on good habits that I've already created and built for myself, to where I know I may not feel like it or I don't want to do it necessarily, but I know what needs to be done, so I don't need to think about it. I just need to jump into action. Like you started off this podcast by talking about, action over perfection has been one of the biggest kind of philosophies in my life, especially over the last probably year or two, is just diving into action. Forget how I'm feeling in the moment, because oftentimes feelings detract you from exactly what you should be doing or your goals, and just really focusing on, I know this needs to be done. It doesn't matter how I feel, I'm going to get it done anyway.
See, I think that's great, and one of the things is you're not letting up on the fact that there are absolutely, in fact, times where you shouldn't power through.
Right.
And you should take some you time, and you should take some downtime. What are some of the big indicators that you find in your life as a leader, certainly a leader of our company, our family, a huge influence on so many lives, but when you do need to step back, what are some of the big indicators that are letting you know, hey, Cayla, it might be time to take a different look at the way you're doing this?
Well, at least as of lately, it's primarily been me listening to my body. So it's been a very physical experience. Just really, like, anytime I'm sitting there, and like there'll be some days where I'm just so go. I'm in the mode, I'm in the zone, and like I'm unstoppable and I'm getting so much done. I feel so productive. It feels great. I'm like, oh my gosh, I look back and I'm like, oh, I didn't even like sit down and like pay attention if Wee Babe was kicking today as much, or what have you. And then the next day though, I usually kind of feel it a little bit, and I feel like a truck hit me, or I feel really tired, or I'm like, oh, I'm so fatigued, I don't know what's going on. And then my favorite is Greg's response, you're building a human. You are
currently actively and unequivocally building a human. Give yourself some grace.
That's definitely another big takeaway, but just really listening to my body. And if I feel, I'm very in tune with my body, so I can feel if I'm overdoing it, if I've overdone it. And so I then know, okay, like I got XYZ done. Now it's time I'm going to take 10 minutes. I'm going to take an hour. I'm going to take the rest of the day. I kind of just base it on the situation and what I'm feeling and going through. And then I just say, okay, now this chunk of time I'm devoting to me and myself and my baby. And we're going to keep our health, because health for me right now, especially because it's, the same for me. And
you're building a human.
And the baby, that always has to be my number one priority. So even if I'm powering through and pushing through things, I'm always kind of assessing. And if I'm about to cross that line, I know I need to just stop and at least take a break, if not take the rest of the day.
See, I think that the other thing that is pretty incredible is you're looked at to make so many decisions day in and day out. And so sometimes you're not always allowed to take some time. What is the best way that maybe, because I think that motherhood is already hard enough, building a company is already hard enough, going through a pandemic is already hard enough, navigating the government already hard enough, navigating the economy, you get the picture.
Yeah.
How do you communicate with people when you finally say, okay, enough is enough and I need some me time? it sounds like you first have to communicate with yourself.
Yes,
So
100%.
maybe tell me the internal versus the external conversation of that. What does the internal conversation look like? And then help me understand the external conversation. If you have an employee that is just constantly hitting you up or asking questions, what's the best way for you to communicate with them so that you can take some time for yourself and still be a good leader?
So for the most part, the dialogue that happens with myself it's become, more of a quick process. Before, there was a lot of overanalyzing and being unsure and probably powering through one too many times. But now that I've, gotten a little bit more into a groove and I feel a little bit more confident with my decision making when it comes to this, as soon as I feel something, I just realize it's not worth it. I can't overdo it right now. It's just obviously a fetus is too sensitive for that. So I just make the decision in the moment, and then I just make whatever arrangements I need to make as quickly as possible, and then I just move on and move on with it. As far as with a team member or someone else I may be working with, in my book, honesty is the best policy. So I just tell them, hey, I'm not feeling well, or I think I overdid it, or I'm going to have to, reschedule, or I just tell them what's going on, and I do my best to still set them up for success so they can get whatever they need to accomplish for the rest of the day before I step out or step back. And then I let them know, hey, we can reconvene at this time, or, and obviously if push comes to shove and you still need me, feel free to call me or message me or what have you. I'll always be available if like it's a big fire or if something comes up that's really important. But I do let them know that my pregnancy is my number one priority, and 9.9 times out of 10 people wholeheartedly respect that.
See, I think that the leadership that you like, honesty the best policy. I think the way that you lead your team members is one of the things that helps them accept what's going on, accept and stand in the gap. And I think that the people that you're leading and responding so well to the things that you're going through, and in a lot of ways they'll try to step up and step in before it even happens, or they'll try to figure it out on themselves. They're more inclined to try to figure it out.
Yes.
But I think that's a testament to your leadership, that you are always trying to equip people. You do try to delegate, you trust, you try to empower and really put people in the best possible position to succeed. And I think that, it shouldn't go unsaid. Sorry about these bumps, guys. I'm telling you, we are driving down I-25.
I think it's awesome.
But I think it's a testament to your leadership. It's one of the very many reasons why I admire you and I respect you so much. So
thank you.
That is so awesome. Okay, so here's how I'm going to wrap this podcast, because I do have a question.
Okay.
What is one thing you would say to Cayla a month before she knew she was pregnant that would help you today?
Oh my gosh, probably so many things. Start researching now, woman. There's so much to learn and so much you're going to have to do and figure out. Like, start researching now. Don't wait until you're pregnant to start on that. And then also the whole recurring theme of take time for yourself and give yourself grace and be patient with the process, because it is such a big transition and every day kind of feels like a transition. And I know as a parent, we're probably going to feel like this for the rest of our lives. Mm-hmm. But just being understanding of that, and don't feel like I have to know all the answers immediately. And if I stumble and if I fall, that's okay. Just get up and love your baby and move forward, and everything will work itself out.
Well, the thing that if I could go back and tell Greg one thing.
Yeah, I want to know this one.
Yeah, it would be buy your wife a body pregnancy pillow.
Oh, that too. The struggle was real. Thank God it only lasted like a week, but that pillow, I tell you, the snoogle is what we got.
The snoogle. Yeah, so I think that's probably the biggest thing. And the other thing, I think it's important for everyone to realize that it is a way, way different experience than anyone could imagine. I remember walking into Target, and quite frankly, I thought that it consisted of let's buy a car seat, let's buy a stroller.
Like 4 things, right?
Let's buy some baby clothes. Okay, if you are an entrepreneur and you are a prospective parent or you're thinking about having kids, I really encourage you to just go into Target and go into the infant section and start realizing the mayhem that is on the way. And I am not trying to say I'm scared. I will say I walked out of Target that day a little overwhelmed because I was like, oh, there's, it's kind of like when people say there's levels to this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the thing is, take it one day at a time. Communicate with your mate. Cayla and I are best friends, and that's part of the reason we wanted to get this mobile podcast set up is because we were going, we have so many. We very rarely listen to even Audible or music or anything.
That's fair.
We just have conversations. We love one another, and we just explore. And so we wanted the opportunity to explore because we have a feeling that the way that we run our relationship and the way that we have, these experiences, we can help entrepreneurs, certainly couples who are trying to be entrepreneurs together. I think that's one of the places where we really shine. And we want to be able to live out loud a little more and tell our story. So anyway,
agreed.
I think we're going to, maybe we even start another podcast, which is just, the Marriedpreneurs. Ooh. If that's not a podcast, I think we might need to make it.
I like
one.
it.
The Marriedpreneurs. But hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Cayla's, the little engine that could behind basically all of my crazy ideas. And she runs KMG. She is instrumental in our family, and I just, so many people think I'm a good speaker, this, that, and the other, and I am a fraction of the man anyone thinks that I am without this person by my side.
Aww.
So
thanks, babe. I love you so much.
Well, I love doing life with you, and this is fun. So we're just gonna live out loud. Share people all of our crazy adventures, good and bad.
Yeah,
they're not always good. So
people
on social media when they're trying to tell you, everything's rosy, but they're lying. They're 100% lying. COVID, kicked us in the butt and the balls and punched us and black eyes, multiple times. Some of them are still going on, but we're doing the best we can. We've got each other. We're going to keep fighting. Keep loving.
Yep.
Love wins, basically.
Always.
If you can choose to love, then love. But anyway, I'm going to keep bringing Cayla on. We're getting into a bumpy set of the road, so we're going to call it for now. But thank you guys so much for going the final percent.